What's good, everybody? It's your boy Rob, and I'm back. Been on a little hiatus. Don't want to get too much in the weeds about it, but I'm back with another tech cast. So on with the show. What's good with you? What's good with ya? It's your boy RP3, Rob Pouncey, and I'm back. On today's show, we're going to talk about, it's a good combination show. You know, we're going to talk some phones. We're going to talk a little Pixel, little phone of the year conversation. What a podcast wouldn't be without some CyberTruck talk from Tesla. And Tesla's probably biggest competition to date, Ford Motor Company, with the electrified Ford F-150 and the Mustang Mach-E. So on with the show. Yeah, what's good with you, everybody? Yeah, it's your boy Rob. Now, let's start this podcast off with some phone talk. And first up, what's on my mind? First off, let me start by saying that kind of happy I'm back. Been on a little bit of a hiatus. Been having some family things going on here and there. You know, life in general. Nothing really too sad or anything of that nature. Just being busy. Just the time of the year in the fall, going into the winter season, going into the Christmas holiday time, where you can get a little bit busy. And that's pretty much been my spiel. So hopefully I can get a little bit more consistent, but I don't want to make too many promises on that. But I'm here to give you a long-awaited TechCast. So first up, what's on my mind? Well, it's been a few weeks since my last podcast, and the Pixel phone has dropped. And the Pixel phone, again, for the third year in a row, really 2 years in a row, has let me down. That first year with the Pixel 2, I kind of gave that phone a pass and actually made it my phone of the year on my YouTube channel. But then following the Pixel 3 with that very, very large notch that dipped way too far into the display, that kind of threw me off. The iPhone notch was very intrusive, but the Pixel one was just downright, really, I don't know what's a good word for that. You know, downright disruptive. Yeah, it was a very disruptive display, in my opinion. Now, there are a lot of people who love that Pixel 3 phone, but it started my downward trend of being a Pixel supporter to a certain extent. I like to think that I still am, because one of my favorite phones from last year was the Pixel 3a XL, which is the discounted version of the Pixel phone. So that phone kind of gave me hope for the Pixel 4. And then when the Pixel 4 was announced, I was somewhat disappointed again. Now, there was a few things with that phone that kind of disappointed me. First off, let me say that the display was a little much of a letdown. It has a real large forehead, and it was done that way for a reason. So if something is done somewhat to disrupt the aesthetics of a phone, and there's a good reason behind it, I myself can kind of let it go and not really be bothered by it, because there's a reasoning behind it, you know, that can add to my enjoyment of the phone. But when I seen things like how low the battery life was, you know, that was a disappointment, because there's a near stock phone in the OnePlus 7 Pro that had a 4,000 milliamp battery. And that phone was a near perfect phone when it comes to stock Android and just speed and what the phone gave to you. Another disappointing fact or feature on the Pixel 4 was the storage, the level of storage that the phone started with. And I know a lot of people will say, well, the iPhone usually started with 64 gigs of storage. So why are you knocking the Pixel? Well, because the Pixel is not the iPhone. The Pixel don't have that carte blanche of Apple. The Google Pixel phones don't have the reputation of that fashion status of an iPhone. Pixel can't do what Apple do. I'm glad that Google has that confidence. I'm glad that there are a lot of companies out there who feel just the same way as Google do and don't see no problems in giving you a 64 gigabyte phone. But the reality of it is they just can't do what Apple do. It's that simple. As much as you may want to hate on Apple, as much as you may have some discouraging words about Apple, as you can have any kind of negative thought about Apple, and can be legitimate. They can all be legitimate reasons, but Apple has developed the trust, the carte blanche, the name recognition to get away with starting off $1,000 phone with 64 gigabytes. There's no other phone company in the world that can do that and still not have nobody knock them in the head. And if I know that, then why don't Google know that? So with that being said, they were wrong for starting off with 64 gigabytes of storage. I don't care about cloud. I don't care about all this mess. That don't mean crap to me. Using cloud storage, I got news for you. Like things like cloud storage and backing your pictures up to the cloud. Believe it or not, that's a techie exclusive type of thing. Average people barely knows how to run their phone. All they know about is extended storage, having a lot of storage, and why my phone can't hold their pictures no more. Now, let's be honest. How many people have you talked to and they're giving you stories about how their phone is running out of storage? And then you tell them about the cloud, and they don't even know. They know what a cloud is, but most people has never set up their own personal cloud account. I know older people who have Android phone who has never set up their Google Photos account. So they understand the internal storage of a phone. But there's a lot of people who really don't understand or know how to set up their cloud storage. Even the complimentary ones that they get. You can name all these cloud services, Dropbox, the one from Microsoft, Microsoft One, and, Google Photos and Google Drive and all of those things. People do not know how to set those up. They don't understand that if that cloud storage is set up on a new phone, how their pictures can follow them. I mean, even people who have Apple devices and they go into the Apple store and they're saying things like, well, my phone storage is filled up and I done lost all these pictures and I don't know how to get them back. And I hear people at the Genius Bar asking these customers like, well, did you set up your cloud storage? No, I never did. And I don't know how to do that and blah, blah, blah. And it's just a simple fact that people don't know how to do it. So with that being said, you have to make your phones for the stupidest people in the world, pretty much. I mean, that's a little harsh, but you have to expect people who use smartphones are not very smart. So giving them a lot of storage up front helps Google in the long run. So I'm getting off on a tangent, but I was really ticked off about that because of the price. And like I said, Google just don't have that carte blanche to get away with charging $1,000 for a 64 gigabyte phone. They can't do it. And another thing was that facial recognition and being the only way into the phone. Google has not been known for their facial recognition software as being as secure as it should be. And they have always, I think the trend has been moving towards, the in-display fingerprint sensors. So I think Google should have did that. I think a lot of these companies, to a certain extent, envy Apple. I know that sounds kind of weird and harsh, but it seems like whenever Apple starts a particular design trend, no matter how ugly it may be, iPhone 11 Pro being the perfect example, everybody follows. But that's another story. So here Google is following with that, and they give you things like a telephoto lens. When people want to get as many people in their selfie pictures for their social media as possible, you got Google giving you a telephoto lens. So again, that's one of the frustrations. Some of my frustrations with the Google Pixel kind of been ticking me off, and I've been pretty upset with them. And I don't want to be upset with Google Pixel phones because I think of myself as a Pixel fanboy to a certain extent, but I can't deal with them right now. Their prices are dropping for Black Friday to a more tolerable price. So I may be willing to pick up maybe a smaller one or maybe a larger one. I'm still up in the air about it as of the making of this podcast. So with that in mind, I want to move on to phone of the year conversation. So after hearing how I pretty much kind of ripped into the Pixel, you pretty much can tell that the Pixel isn't one of my choices for phone of the year. Actually, there's a lot of phones out there that can be phone of the year. The sleeper phone, I think, could be the LG Thin Q8X, the one where you can add the dual display. I think that's a sleeper phone of the year. LG has quietly been winning back the tech community. I don't know how that's going to translate over to the consumer community, but LG has always made decent and great cameras for everybody. But now that they're kind of getting a little bit of, they're getting a little beat up over the years and they're getting a little bit more innovative. I kind of like that idea of the display. I kind of wish that it didn't have that big dividing line right down the middle of it, that where you flip the screen display that little into a book-like format. I kind of wish somehow it can be thinner, but I can respect the fact that you necessarily don't have to use that as a stretch display. You can use it as two separate displays. I think that's where the best functionality comes from when using that LG 8 Thin QX extra display. Another phone of the year, everybody pretty much has this as their 1A or 1B, is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. The Note 10 itself, I could not put that in my conversation for a phone of the year because there's a few key features that are missing that I would prefer. I wish that they would have kept with the phone. I don't understand why certain companies have to neuter a smaller phone to differentiate from the larger phone, but they do it. And another phone, of course, is the iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max. Could be looked at as phone of the year. And when it comes to what I like personally, I've been liking the iPhone. Believe it or not, the One Plus 7 Pro was also in my thought process of phone of the year. And I think I could have went with the iPhone 7 Pro over maybe the Note 10 as my number 2 or 1B phone. Let's just say number 2 because that's stupid to say 1A, 1B. But my number 2 phone is the ghost touching on the side of the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now, the OnePlus 7T, from an aesthetic point of view, is just an ugly, hideous phone to me. So, both of those phones kind of, cancel each other out, in my opinion. But I kind of wish that the OnePlus 7 Pro had a flat display with that look. And I think I could have picked it for my phone of the year over the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which is, in my opinion, will be my phone of the year. The phone really don't pretty much offer you anything dramatic as far as software. It's pretty much the same software with some improvements. I've gotten used to that camera look on the back. The camera is probably one of the best cameras out there for what it does for me. There are people who prefer the look of the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, but personally, I prefer the iPhone. It pretty much works with me. I have Apple computers in my home. I pretty much work with Apple computers on a regular basis. I pretty much have worked with Apple computers for well over 20 years. And the fact that Android was my first love when it came to cell phones. I can understand how you can get caught up in the Apple ecosystem with these iPhones and kind of get locked in. But again, the iPhone 11 Pro Max this year, edging out the OnePlus 7 Pro as my phone of the year. So, people, have everybody seen the Tesla CyberTruck? I'm quite sure you have. It probably was the biggest thing on the interwebs, on Twitter, on YouTube. That thing was pretty much everywhere. And to a certain extent, either you hate that truck or you loved it. And I kind of fall towards the hated type of truck. And the hate, well, I don't like the look of it. And this might be coming from, a slanted point of view because I work for Ford Motor Company as my quote unquote 9 to 5. And I understand, I'm used to how trucks are supposed to look. And that's not saying that the Cybertruck isn't the way a truck supposed to look. It's just that when you got 100 years, literally 100 years of tradition on what pickup trucks should look, has looked like in this country, and to kind of come back around to a truck that's not even out, that's only been seen for a few days versus 100 years, and try to challenge that, you're gonna either rub people the wrong way, and to me, it rubbed me the wrong way. But that's my personal opinion. The thing about that Cybertruck, though, I give it credit. It, from a technology standpoint, it does push the envelope. Believe it or not, from a shape standpoint, it does pushes the envelope. And what they will do, what Tesla has done, they will make designs of future trucks more sleeker, more futuristic. You're going to see more companies taking more chances, I think, in the future when it comes to their truck designs. Even though, in my opinion, I don't think the Tesla truck is successful, but Tesla has the same power as Apple, where they can kind of move the needle on certain things and literally not have that truck be a top seller. Now, my point that I'm making with this Tesla truck on why I think it's not so much of a success as that everybody think it is. When the Tesla car came out, that first one was that the Model. Was that the Model 3? I can't remember. Oh man, I get my Tesla models mixed up. But when that first Tesla car came out, it had over 200,000 pre-orders. Well, you probably saying, well, Rob, the Tesla truck had 146,000 pre-orders. But here's the difference. The pre-order on the Tesla car, you had to put down $1,000 to get in line for the Tesla, that first Tesla car. Whereas with the CyberTruck, it's only $100 to get in line. So here you are with over 200,000 people on that first Tesla putting down $1,000 to get in line. Whereas with the Tesla CyberTruck, you only had to put $100 down to get in line. And it still was behind the Tesla car. That's not a very good thing. Now, when you got Ford with an F-150, pretty much the number one truck in the world for the last almost 50 years, you're trying to knock them off the mantle. 146,000 pre-orders at $100 down. It's not a good way to go for the king, the king of pickup trucks. So, in my opinion, that Tesla truck is almost a DOA, dead on arrival. It's just that it's got a lot of hype around it. Even its stock took a tumble based on, I think, partially due with the pre-orders. So they got a lot of work to do with that Cybertruck to get it up there to be successful. The price of that Cybertruck also puts it in competition, not with the F-150, but more of the heavy duty range of the truck market. So you got to understand that too. Tesla's kind of slick with its marketing of that Cybertruck. They got you wanting it to feel like it's in competition with an F-150 when it's really, like I said, it's competition to heavy duty. Now, if you took $70,000 and you did everything you need to do with a Tesla truck, take that same $70,000 and go on the internet and look up what you can get with that $70,000 through Ford, through Chevy, and through that Dodge Ram truck. And that Tesla truck can't come close to anything that those three companies can offer on that heavy duty price range. So Tesla's pretty slick with that $70,000 truck and doing the things that it did in their little montage, their little advertisement. So keep that in mind. $70,000 on a Cybertruck is not equal to $70,000 of what Ford, Chevrolet, and Dodge can offer. They will smoke a Tesla with ease with that $70,000. So, with that in mind, though, guess who got an electric pickup truck about 1.5 to 2 years away from being released? Ford, the F-150 electric truck. I think there's a YouTube video out that dropped about a week ago. So if you happen to get a chance to go on YouTube, look up Ford F-150 electric truck. It smokes the Tesla with ease. And what Ford has learned is that they're going to undercut that Tesla. They're undercutting the Tesla in a lot of ways with that Mustang Mach-E. Now, Ford has turned their attention to electric vehicles, and they're in direct competition with Tesla. I think they're one of the first few companies that will give Tesla a nice little run for their money. Tesla do have the advantage with their electric network that they build out over across the country with their chargers and supercharge stations. They do have that advantage, whereas Ford has to get in on that Volkswagen's charging station setup. I wish I could remember the name right now. My goodness, I didn't have it in my notes. But it's still second to Tesla. So as far as, the network for electric vehicles. And that Mustang Mach-E is going to turn some heads. Is going to make a shift in the market. And I think it can only be good for the rest of us because it creates competition. And with that competition comes innovation. So I am not mad at what Ford is doing. Again, I think what Ford did in choosing the Mustang name to label this vehicle helps with the marketing because you had instant recognition with the name Mustang. One of the cool things they've also done, there is no Ford blue oval, signature blue oval on any piece of that car. Only thing that's on the car that's recognizable as far as name is the name Mustang and the Mach-E in trim on the side of the doors. So what way to get a vehicle into the hearts of people with a iconic classic name like that? Now think about other companies who have tried to push electric vehicles. None of them are memorable. I would press anybody to at least pick out three of them, three memorable electric vehicle names, that can be name recognition among the average consumer. So with Ford doing that with the Mustang, that helps them out. But like I said, for example, GM with that name, the Volt, that's not a very recognizable name unless you're heavy into knowing what electric vehicles that are out there. The Nissan Leaf, that name doesn't evoke passion, and it pretty much sounds something of a wimpy name that really don't stir your emotion. And like I say, with Ford's ideal of using the Mustang, it's a perfect idea. Yeah, I know there's some Mustang enthusiasts will be pretty much upset, but I think they'll get over it. It's not like they're changing the actual Mustang itself into something else or changing the name. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I don't know if you guys remember the Ford Probe. Okay. That was about maybe 10 years ago. Last Ford Probe may have came off the lot. Anyway, that car was to be the new Mustang. And the uproar from the Mustang community was so loud that Ford took note and just renamed the car the Probe. So, little tidbit, the Ford Probe was meant to be called the Ford New Mustang. And Ford learned very quickly not to change that iconic look to something so drastic and kind of neuter that car. That's why the new Mustang Mach-E is a completely redesigned from the ground up vehicle that doesn't affect the original Mustang line. And in a lot of ways, keeping the controversy to a minimum. Because you can complain about that Mustang Mach-E SUV all you want. It's not like I said, they're not changing the complete line. You still get your classic Mustang coupe look and that classic Mustang lines that you find on the cars that to keep the traditionalists happy and also help you sell electric vehicles to the tech market. So, with that being said, let you in on a little secret while you're listening to this podcast. I have put in my order for a Mustang Mach-E, and hopefully I'll be picking mine up next year. I really, at one point, was thinking about getting a Tesla, and I was very close to maybe putting in my order. And then when I found out that they were going to actually release the Mustang, I thought the Mustang would have been a little further off, because I'm not really in the loop of knowing when certain vehicles are coming out. But when I found out the Mustang electric Mach-E was coming out, I was like, man, forget that Tesla, man. I like this Mach-E. And, like I said, I'm a Ford employee. So what better way to get me an electric car than to get one that's made by the company I work for? So, yeah, it will be on my YouTube channel when I pick it up. But if you listen to my podcast, you will be pretty much one of the first few people who would know. So that's pretty much it. Again, thanks everybody for listening to my podcast. I'm back, depending on my schedule, how busy things get. The closer we get to Christmas, I'm going to try to up the uploads on my podcast. And I'm going to be at CES with PhoneTechAtWork.com. I've been invited as a part of their team. Thank you to Mr. Alan Anthony for letting me come again to work with his team. JQ, and all the rest over there at Phone Tech at Work. Appreciate you guys letting me come to CES with you guys. So I will be trying to do a podcast from CES with Mr. Alan Anthony and the rest of the people from Phone Tech at Work. So be on the lookout for that in January. So again, thanks. This has been another Tech Cast from your boy RP3. And shout out to the guys from Team 100, BG Tech Life, Android Stud, and my boy Force Tech Review, and the tech gentleman, Mr. Eric Kelly. Again, next time, people, stay free. Keep your mind open to new tech and new things. Let's have some fun. It's your boy Rob, and I'm out.